Hello, everyone, and welcome to our special program today. This is our Vegan Spirituality Online Gathering, and I am one of your hosts today. My name is Lisa Levinson. I am the Campaigns Director for In Defense of Animals and also a co-founder of the Interfaith Vegan Coalition and one of your co-hosts for today. We actually started vegan spirituality to explore veganism as a spiritual practice. And we do this together online every other month, but we also do it in person. And you can find an in-person gathering by going to veganspirituality.com, or you can start one of your own. Just contact us at veganspirituality@gmail.com and we'll help you along the way. So I'm very excited about our program tonight, and my co-host, Judy Carmen, who is the author of Peace to All Beings and Homo Ahimsa, is going to introduce you to our first speaker this evening. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you. And hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be so thrilling to have Julie Griffin and Victoria Moran on. Now, Victoria's going to be joining us in a little bit, but so Julie's going to give us her wisdom first. But I wanted to read a little bit about her. I mean, there's so much, but this is just a little look at what she does in her amazing life. Julie Griffin is the author of the screenplay, The Book of Augustine. She's a proud member of the Interfaith Vegan Coalition, the World Peace Diet Advocacy Group, and Climate Healers. She's also the founder of the World Vegan Assembly and the fledgling World Vegan Church. Her Vegan-Easy Hypnosis programs are available free on YouTube to those seeking to adopt a vegan or plant-based lifestyle. At age 65, she endeavors to use her creativity in service to humanity, and I can certainly vouch for that, and for the animal kingdom and our beautiful planet Earth. It is her belief that if Earth and her people are to survive, humans must switch to plant-based diets. Her thrilling screenplay is designed to appeal to all audiences, which is the real key, and to illuminate helpful truths that lead to peace and healing. So, Julie, thank you so much for joining us. I know how busy you are. It means a lot that you're here with us. And let's start out. Tell us a little bit about the Book of Augustine. Is it your first screenplay?
It's my first screenplay, yes, indeed. I've written a lot of books, like I think 14 books on hypnosis and healing and manners such as that, and one novel. So the novels actually could be a prequel to the Book of Augustine, but right now they're both standalones. So we'll see how that all works out. But it's pretty exciting, and I really appreciate you ladies having me on and all that you guys do all the time. You really are, the flame of this whole movement. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Julie.
Okay,
And
so the
you
Book of August. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead,
Okay,
please. We want to hear
the
from
Book of
you.
Augustine. I started working on it a long time ago, like before the pandemic, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I'm highly educated as a Zoom watcher. So I learned how to write screenplays on Zoom, just as I've learned how to create videos and virtually everything else that I do, either at the Apple Store or at Zoom. So I'm very grateful to YouTube, because that's how I learned this stuff. And over the last 3 to 4 years, I've really been polishing it, the screenplay. And I really felt strongly as a new vegan advocate about 7.5 years ago that I wanted to put my energy to a place where it would do the most good. And that was took some figuring out. First I went in trying to help people with their videos and stuff so I could really learn about this great work that we do. Spent a lot of time on Interfaith Vegan Coalition, which I encourage anybody to join that's of a mind, and climate healers. And I learned what was needed. I learned what was happening. And I also learned that I really wanted to carve out a place that was different than what was going on. And even though there are amazing, amazing films out there, they are all completely different than what I've done, because mine's a screenplay thriller and it's not a documentary at all. It's just like you would go to the movies to watch, some big high purpose screenplay. So it's been pretty scary, but I've been getting some good traction. And now the Book of Augustine I is about many things that I know a lot about. Some of the things that I've learned from you folks and from all my associations, but also it's about a screenplay about a couple who finally feel like they've just got it all. He's about to win the Nobel Prize in chemistry with his partner, and she's a TV star hypnotist who also is finally like almost 9 months pregnant after a bunch of hard episodes with pregnancy before. She's ready to just be happy. They're ready to be happy. And then all of a sudden she gets him home ahead of the Nobel Prize ceremony. He flies home to see her for a couple days before the ceremony. And when he's getting ready to leave to go to Stockholm, a car bomb hits and takes him out and kills her unborn child. So that happens like right away. So from that moment forward, it's a race for them to stay alive because they know people are after them. And when I say they, I mean Nikki V, who's the hypnotist slash TV star. She's got to survive, having open heart surgery after the bombing. She's got to recover from her husband dying and losing her baby. And she's got to keep on keeping on because she knows the secrets that the bombers wanted to stop from coming to light are in her hands. So she's pretty nervous about, how to keep herself safe. Fortunately, his partner, Augustine, was in Stockholm when the bombing came. So he rushes home to be at her side to help her heal and to protect the findings. So that's basically takes you right in. Like in the screenplay, Augustine is in Stockholm waiting for Wade to get there. Wade doesn't get there because he's dead. and it's chaos from there out, because no matter what they do, I mean, they can't call a car service without wondering if there's going to be a bomb in it. And they can't, go out without checking their cars for bombs and without having security all around them. So their lives are completely upended, but at the same time, they just decide, well, I, especially Nikki V, I survived this, and I survived it for a reason, because I'm supposed to bring all this to light to help end animal agriculture, and in so doing, help to heal the planet Earth. So that's really what it's about. And there's a lot of sensational stuff. There's romance, there's, a whiff of sensuality weave through it, because I wanted to create enough drama amidst the important parts that people wouldn't even want to get up to use the restroom. So there's that. And then the most exciting thing that I feel that this screenplay has a real chance at helping the world to view food differently is the court settlement. The wrongful death settlement culminates in the bombers' families have to agree to place warning labels and on all the packages of food that come out of their combined 134 meat packing and animal agriculture facilities with a QR code. And it's set up in the book so that it has a cute animal cartoon so that children will see the packages of meat and want to scan the QR code. And that takes them right directly in to a live feed of where the animals are housed and murdered. So when people start realizing that we should be having warning labels on the food, and when they have to look behind the walls of animal agriculture, and why aren't we already able to do that, I think it's going to make a difference. And for any of us and all of us who are trying to make a difference, all we can do is hope and pray and do our best every single day. And I do feel confident that I've done my best and put in my time on this. So, and I really think it's the right time for a play like this, for a screenplay like this. And in fact, it's being considered for a big fellowship. 3 people will get a fellowship that have written climate-related screenplays with the NRDC's Rewrite the Future program. So the fact that that even exists and that they actually contacted me to see if I wanted to submit something in that category tells me it's time for this sort of thing. And they really believe that the lousy 1% of films that are out there, only 1% talk about climate issues, and we need to have more out there. And we all know why, because if things don't change, the planet Earth is suffering, the animals are suffering, and we need to make change now. So that's what it's about in a nutshell. There's a lot of chaos beyond that, but don't want to spoil the whole show. But I do have a 5-minute lookbook that I can play for you all that will tell you more about it. And with the lookbook, I've used pictures of famous stars because I'm trying to see who would belong in there. And when I send it out to producers, I want them to really be able to see how I feel the play should go. So I'm trying different people out. That's why you'll see different people. Is it time for that, or should we talk more?
Lisa, are you
Yeah,
there?
go right
Is it a
ahead.
good time
Go
to do
for
it?
Okay, well,
Yes.
Okay, great.
let's see. Let's say a little prayer over the screen share. Okay, screen share. I think we've got it.
The Book of Augustine, a screenplay by Julie Griffin. Logline. As a Nobel laureate climate scientist leaves for Stockholm, he and his pregnant TV star wife fall victim to a bomb outside their suburban Boston home. To stop a shocking report from coming to light, an unholy trinity of bombers conspire to silence his widow and science team. The feel-good show is mesmerizing Nikki V at the peak of her stardom. Career pressures, fame, and their need to be of service to humanity takes a toll on Nikki and Wade's marriage. A gut-wrenching argument yields life-altering, catastrophic results. The Holy Trinity bombers plot to take down the Planet Earth science team. After a bomb kills Nikki V's husband and baby, she rises from the ashes to combat evil and to heal the world's woes. As Scotland's Augustine MacDonald prepares to receive the Nobel Prize in Chemistry, his science team partner is killed by a bomb en route to Stockholm. Grief and rage consume him as he races back to Boston to protect his findings and to care for his dead partner's wife. Assisted by former U.S. President Arthur J. Ward and the Swedish Security Service, Augustine and the remaining Planet Earth team members are returned to Boston. As the science team exits Sweden, Nikki V is airlifted to Massachusetts General Hospital for a touch-and-go 8-hour surgery. Nikki awakens to the realization that her husband and baby are gone. The remaining science team members, lost in despair and unsure of their future. MIT postdocs Victor Penna and Kenneth Anderson are debriefed before being sent to the safety of their families' homes. Wade Dolan's spirit not yet at rest. Nikki V's hospital release. When two of the bombers break into Nikki's home, their menacing presence is met with a gun. 2 down and 1 to go. Boston police detectives O'Brien and Sullivan are at the ready to protect and defend. One small send for womankind, one huge dose of truth for humanity. Nikki and Augustine's escape to the Maine woods. Attorneys Roberta and James Hamilton's divinely inspired and far-reaching settlement proposal. Lady Justice sees and acts on desperate truths. A 60-minute interview reveals an unpopular court settlement. The bomber's family's unextinguishable rage. Love finally acknowledged. Assassination plans in progress. How will it all end?
Okay, so that's the deal. I hope everybody could hear it. Oops. I'm not hearing anybody now. What's up? Judy and Lisa, you're muted.
Sure am.
We're here. We're here with you.
Didn't see it.
Yeah.
And hi, Victoria.
Hi, Victoria.
Yeah.
So that was so inspiring, and I know everybody is anxious to see this amazing film. And what's so unique about it, like you said, is that it's not a documentary like so many of them are. It's going to be seen by people who just go to the movies just to see an action film.
Right.
And so, and they're going to get that message about animal agriculture, and what a powerful message. So thank you so much for doing this. I know it's been a tremendous amount of work. So how's it going with getting it out there to getting it sold? And
Well, it's kind of like Kip Anderson was talking about with his project, that you start talking to people and then you realize that what they're saying is not necessarily in the best interest of your project, that maybe you'd be better off doing it a different way. And I found that to be true. The first group that I spoke to was talking about it having at least a $25 million budget and things that were just blowing my mind, gave me all kinds of good reviews. But then I realized that I would have to lose control of the message and a lot of other things. So I just said, hey, it's not worth it. So I kind of walked away from that group. And then I just said a lot of prayers, and I talked to the universe and said, I trust you. You didn't have me spend, all this time here to not have it go to the right place. So I'm trusting that. And I'm trusting myself to not just be swayed by people with big promises when I need to contact people that have absolute integrity for the program. And fortunately, there's a whole bunch of vegan actors and vegan production companies now. And this Rewrite the Future program, they came in just when I started. When you're on a long project, it's easy for you to have emotional highs and lows. And I was just about to sink. So I was praying harder and visualizing harder. And then I get this notice from Rewrite the Future, from the NRDC. And, I don't know if I will get the fellowship, and I don't know if there's 20 people applying for it that have been accepted or 200. I don't know. But I know they're going to give 3 people, a great deal of money to develop their program and develop their screenplay and help get it in the right hands and help with fact checking and everything. So I feel like that might work out. But even if it doesn't, it was a good sign that, okay, I am on the right path and I've got enough, it was like a good shot in the arm, so to speak, not a vax, but a good emotional shot in the arm towards keeping my energy high enough to do this. So we're going to keep going on. Oh, and the last group, that this NRDC group that's works in conjunction with a group called the Blacklist, which helps market people's writing who are screenplay authors. They said that they felt that it was perfectly set up to become a syndication and to be an ongoing series in addition to being a major motion picture. So that was pretty exciting. And I've already thumbnailed out about a dozen extra episodes. So if they want to turn it into episodes, I'll be able to immediately step up. And that's what they call in the business that I'm learning, is they want something that has what they call legs to keep going, so that when they invest money in a project, it will keep going. It can live beyond. And I realized that I don't want it to have legs. I want it to have wings. I want it to keep going. There's so many messages we can get out there, whether it's about climate episodes, whether it's about big pharmacy, the foul play that might be going on all over the place. There's just so much to talk about. So I'm excited that they told me everything I liked about it was stuff they liked about it. The emotional stuff, they loved that. They loved that it had a strong female lead and a strong male lead, and that they both were heroic. And I think I've got more of a chance than some because I am a woman, because I am 65, and because technically, because I have Sjogren's syndrome, I'm disabled. So that's something most people don't know about me, but it's a fact. So it puts me in a category of extra consideration, and it looks good to them to publish and create films for people in the categories such as those. So I'm very grateful. And way back when I was doing, when I first started with Interfaith Vegan Coalition and Will Tuttle's group, the Vegan Advocacy, the World Peace Diet Advocacy group, I started seeing where I could help, and all that stuff that I put in, whether it was making a video or writing something up or doing a voiceover, it caused me to learn all the things that I learned that made me capable of creating that little video myself. So that was fun. But it's just a matter of, okay, where there's a will, there's a way. So for all of you, who want to do something and you think you can't, it's like the little choo-choo train. If you think you can't, you can't. And if you think you can, you can. You just have to keep plugging up that hill. So it's been a long haul, but the ticket price was worth it to get me here.
Well, it's so exciting, and your skills, you are really putting your skills to work here because you have so many talents. And I'm seeing lots of hearts and thumbs up floating up, and I think there are some questions too. And I want Victoria to have time, so I'm wondering, Lisa, are there some questions we could address for just a few minutes and then turn it over to Victoria?
Okay, yes, there are some questions here. And one of them was, is Netflix one of those that wanted to control your message?
No, I have not dealt with Netflix. It was actually a pre-production company that a lot of things have cropped up now where they want you to sign on with them and their producers so that they can charge you fees to help polish up your work. And you don't always know when you sign on to these things if they're credible or not. This one looked really credible, and I think it is, but I didn't like being told that I could possibly not get screenplay credit for it. It's not that I'm a control freak or an egomaniac, but I want to at least be co-screenwriter, and they could have taken that away from me. And they couldn't guarantee me, any kind of financial remuneration. And since I'm doing this whole thing to give money to charity, I'm not interested in making money on this film. I want to give it all away. I want to guard it even more than if it was for me. So I'm going to guard it.
Well, thank you. It's a sacred gift you're giving the world, and we all want to support it. One other question was, how are you pitching it? And it does look like you're using the lookbook that we saw, and also
The
there was
lookbook
the
and a pitch deck.
Indiegogo.
Yeah, I did a pitch deck in a similar fashion that really is more like, this is why you want to produce this. This is the films that it's like. This is the audience it will have. This is why I created it. It talks about my belief that it takes the village called Hollywood to make this change, and that we know that Hollywood has hypnotized the masses for many, many years, and this is not going to be any different. When they see this and they're watching the film, they're going to zone out into a great trance and get the message. They're not going to resist because it's going to be too exciting. So that's part of it. And I'm also pointing out in the pitch that I was married to an atmospheric chemist for 15 years, and he was on a team that won the Nobel Prize. He wasn't one of the winners, but he wasn't one of the chairs. But I worked with him when he was going through that and helping with that. So that inspired the idea. And I've actually been around people like Mario Molina, who's now in spirit, and he's quoted in the pitch deck. So it's going to take a while. I keep refining some of these pitch deck stuffs because I'm a newbie. I don't really know what I'm doing. I learn every day and then I redo it. So that's why it's taken so long. But I try to just remember to make it fun, to remember that everything I'm doing towards it is stuff that I love. And that really helps when it seems to drag on. So
And just
thank
a
you.
couple little comments. One was a suggestion to get the pitch to a film agent as one idea.
Yeah.
And then another idea is from Periel, who says it would be amazing to have a vegan cast, like some of the ones you pictured, but also Joaquin
Exactly.
Phoenix, Woody Harrelson, Natalie Portman, Billie Eilish could contribute music. So this is exciting, and vegan artists, she
Yeah.
said, would like to know about this and get involved.
Yes, well, absolutely. And getting an agent is definitely on the top of my list. But unfortunately, it's almost impossible to get an agent. I keep working on it, but I'm going to try to go right through the back door directly to the production companies. And I'm going to start calling every representative of all those vegan actors tomorrow. That's what's going on tomorrow. Is I'm going to start making those calls because I can't find agents. Agents don't want to talk to anybody unless they're already, somebody that's well established. So just got to keep on keeping on, keep praying.
Yeah, well, thank you so much,
Thank
Julie,
you.
for sharing this with us. And we feel really delighted to get this sneak peek about
Thank
the
you.
project you're working on. Of course, we want to support it wholeheartedly.
Yes,
and get the message out.
We're with
I
you
just want
all
to
the way.
thank you. I just want to say one last thing is I'm excited as all get out to be on the same platform as Victoria Moran. And I spent, a whole day yesterday watching her stuff and listening to her stuff. And I always knew she was amazing. I always knew she was gorgeous. And now I know how amazing and gorgeous, or way more about her than I did before. So I'm excited, and I'm going to shut up and have her talk now.
Well, thank you for joining us, Julie. And we're just thrilled to have you. And now we're going to shine our spotlight on Victoria. Hi, Victoria.
Yeah.
Ladies,
Well,
thank you, Julie. There was so much that I related to because it is an industry like no other, and it is not for the faint of heart.
yeah.
So in common.
Well, let me introduce you, Victoria, in case there's anyone, which I doubt, who doesn't know who you are. Victoria is an author, podcaster, speaker, and a HIMSA educator. She's written a number of books, quite a few actually, specializing in spirituality and veganism. She hosts the Main Street Vegan radio show and podcast. She's published a number of best-selling vegan books, starting in 1985 with Compassion, the Ultimate Ethic. Her 2012 book, Main Street Vegan, is the basis of her company and outreach, including the Main Street Vegan podcast, Main Street Vegan Academy, and Main Street Vegan Productions. Her work in the field of veganism led her to win the Vegan of the Year award in 2012. Her podcast won a Vegan Media Outlet Award in 2015. And her most recent book was published in 2015, and that one is called The Good Karma Diet. Now, but what she's going to talk about tonight is her film. She is the co-writer with her husband, Reverend William Melton, of Miss Liberty, a feature film that's in development now about a cow who escapes from a slaughterhouse in a Midwestern town and the human drama that ensues from that. So, yes, tell us all about Miss Liberty. How did the idea come about?
Well, thank you, Judy. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everybody that's here. It actually came to my husband. Now, I am a writer. I've been a writer since I was a kid, but I'm not a story writer. I don't come up with people and dialogues and create beings who weren't there before. And I didn't know that he did either, because at the time that he was working on this, he was a mild-mannered attorney. And he just got this idea, I think, as he became vegetarian very soon after we married and was working his way toward veganism. And he started thinking about animals. And he was one of these people who had had an animal experience when he was young. He went hunting with his cousins and killed a bird. And it was the most horrible feeling. And he vowed he would never, ever take the life of another living creature. But he was 12 years old and in Arkansas, lived in Missouri, did the hunting in Arkansas, and didn't put two and two together that the animals that he ate were just like that animals that he and his cousin had hunted that day. But after he met myself and my daughter, who's a lifelong vegan, it didn't take long for it to rub off. And he was one of those people that once he was in, he was all the way in. So he took a month off, not exactly off because he was working half the day, but he left home and went up to the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York, where Farm Sanctuary is located, because he wanted to get to know cows. We grew up in the Midwest, but in cities, so we didn't know cows. And he got to know not only cows, but Jean Bauer of Farm Sanctuary. And this incredible story came together. I'm going to show you the website. If I could share my screen, is that okay, Judy?
Yes, sure.
I don't want to skip ahead and get in the way of any of your questions, but I think that a little bit of visual
screen share. There we go.
Let's see. And oh, that's right. This is a website. This is not a PowerPoint, so it works differently. Okay, so this is Miss Liberty. She is a cow who escapes from a slaughterhouse. The key art that we have here comes from Real Pie Digital. They are vegans, a vegan husband and wife team. They used to be in LA. Now they're on the East Coast, and they do work for Sony and the big companies. But, you know, vegans love vegans, and we help each other out. And so that's where the key art came from. So this is just a little explanation of the story. You don't have to read it because I'm going to tell you the story. So in fact, I'm going to move past it so that I'll just tell you the story. And that is, very briefly, picture the Staten Island ferry coming into New York City, and it's crammed full of people that would rather be not going to their offices. And we noticed there's a woman with a briefcase and a whole lot of papers she's lugging, and she's looking pretty sad. And then we kind of switch as we see the Statue of Liberty there in the harbor, and the scene changes, and we're somewhere in the Midwest, and there is a truck full of cows. They're going to a slaughterhouse, and we see them, and they kind of remind us of those people on the ferry. People on the ferry obviously are not going to their death, but they were not happy with where they were, and the cows are, of course, very frightened and sensing what's happening. And we're back to the ferry, and we're back to the cows, and there's a little accident there at the slaughterhouse, and the cows get out, and there's all this running around and all this trying to collect everybody, and it seems that that's all been taken care of. But one cow is not there. Nobody notices. She has escaped, and she wanders into the yard of a guy called Bob, who's a computer tech, and he is owed money by the slaughterhouse. So he keeps her on his patio, which his two kids love. He's recently divorced. He has his kids for the summer. And he calls his lawyer and says, I'm holding on to this cow as collateral until Parnell, the slaughterhouse owner, pays me for the work that I did. Now, his lawyer is aware that the slaughterhouse has never been on the up and up, if a slaughterhouse can be on the up and up, but they've always just been kind of at the edge of the law. Their animal welfare practices are awful. Their worker treatment practices are awful. Their financial dealings are not good. And this lawyer would love to nab these people. And he thinks maybe this is his chance. So he calls his old NYU classmate, who is back in New York City, and that is our female lead, Cow Patty. And that's what the press calls her because she's a lawyer and she does a lot of pro bono animal rights work. Her actual name is Patricia Levinson. And she tells him she can't come out there and be part of this case because she's divorced and she's got to get back into this law firm and she's got to make partner or she won't be able to take care of herself. But the next thing we know, there she is, because isn't that like us? It may not be practical to go for the animal, but we're going to go for the animal. And all sorts of amazing other things happen. I'm not going to go into great detail, but as we go through it and come to some of the characters, I do want to share some of them with you because they're really what light this movie up. Something else that's very unique about Miss Liberty is that our audience is an audience who would never want to see a documentary or even a feature about veganism. They just want a movie to take their kids to on a Saturday afternoon. My vision is single dad who's got his kids for the weekend. What should we do? All right, I'll take him to McDonald's and then we'll go see this movie with a cow in it. And maybe that will change future McDonald's visits. So it's not a children's movie, but it's a movie that the entire family can enjoy. And we're looking for just regular middle American people that very often in our vegan outreach get a little bit overlooked. So here are some of our characters. Jack Jr. is also called Jackass. He's the son of the slaughterhouse owner, and he's just pitiful. The reason his dad is still trying to run the thing at 89 years old is because he doesn't want to turn it over to Jackass. Carlos Garcia is the foreman at the plant, and he's called Shakespeare by everybody because he has a degree in English literature, but it's from Mexico. And when he got to this country, he had to kill cows for a living. So we have, here's the primary screenwriter. That's my husband, William. And then we got me. And then we have some other cool people. So Jean Bauer, who was there helping William to know cows at the very beginning, has been on board as an associate producer from the very beginning. He has introduced us to some very cool people. And they have passed through and they have helped and they have gone on, which I'm sure is something Julie has already seen in this business. It's unlike anything I'm used to. You know, I write books, and so I'm in publishing, and maybe because publishing is largely a New York enterprise, people are very direct. They will say, we don't like it. It's not for us. Can't you do better? But in the movie industry, it's like, you're fabulous. It's wonderful. It's a shooting script. I've never seen anything like it. We'll do lunch. And you never hear from them again. So we have had some of that, but we have had also some very wonderful people who, you know, came through and helped. And we're so, so grateful for that. And some of the best people of that nature did come through Gene. So he is on board. Jay Karandikar is an executive producer for us. He did the movie Coffee Wars, which is about a vegan barista. And there's an international barista competition that she wants to be in, but the rules of the competition are you have to use dairy milk. So it's a very hip, kind of in your face British comedy. You can find it online. Coffee Wars is really fun. He's working on another film now and will be working with us. Now, Scott Carlson is very interesting. He's another executive producer. He is also the manager for two of the actors who have expressed interest. So none of the actors are attached, so I can't name them, but one of the actors is vegan, and Scott is his manager. Now, Scott is not vegan, but, you know, I would love it, like we were saying for Julie's film, to have an all vegan cast so that the people out front are going to be vegan. But you also want to have the very best people to do the job. So especially behind the scenes. And also it's cool to make converts. So I love Scott's last line here. You don't have to be a vegetarian to see that Miss Liberty is a great story and this movie will make money. And when you're trying to raise money for a movie, that is a message that is needed. And Scott has a Golden Globe, and his dad, this is all interesting, his dad has a Golden Globe because his dad was the set designer for all those wonderful Norman Lear sitcoms back in the 1960s and 70s, like All in the Family and Maude. So he does go back in the business. And he has an office in LA, but he married a woman from Prince Edward Island in Canada. And he lives in this beautiful, calm island. And I do have a feeling that one of the reasons he's been so terrific is that he's not like in that milieu all the time. So Marion, some of you may know Marion Haley Moss. She's very involved in the vegan movement. She's written a lot of wonderful children's books like Mike and the Rescue Animals. And Marion is a veteran actress. I mean, she has acted with great people. Her husband was music director of Sesame Street. He wrote Rubber Ducky. So she knows a lot of people. And she got us one of our really veteran actors who's very interested in the role of Jack Parnell Jr. So hopefully that will all come to be. Neha is a young Bollywood filmmaker. She started, and she's also done a lot of work in Hollywood. She was on the crew for Avatar, and she's done her own film, the Yasodhara, the Buddha's Wife. She's working on a documentary now called Who Am I?, where she asks all these spiritual luminaries and regular people, who are you really? Very spiritual kind of film. Wendy Sachs, very prominent in the plant-based movement here in New York City. She did the dance documentary Moving Stories and was associate producer of Particle Fever, which a lot of people saw. And probably her best known film was Songcatcher, which was a feature about Appalachian folk music, a beautifully critically acclaimed film. So we got some good people with us, and that is just the most important thing, because you can't do it alone. And that's one of the things that I'm learning in this, because as a writer, that's kind of like, stick me in a Starbucks and leave me alone and I'll write a book. And then of course, you know, there are publishers and people like that do things. But the movie business, I mean, it is not for introverts, because it's definitely collective operation. So we need $200,000 in development money. And what the way it works when you're making an indie film on your own, which is what we're doing. For a long time, we tried to get somebody to pick it up. And oh my goodness, if you think that you have had ups and downs in the world of dating, try it in the world of movies, because we have had people flying us out to Santa Fe where they're making a movie with all kinds of Academy Award winners, and they are gushing uproariously over this movie. And then where did they go? I don't know. So we had things like that happen many times. This is not for the faint of heart. So we're doing it ourselves. And what this means is that we need to get this development money so that we can attach the actors who are interested. And that means we can start talking about them. And that will help Scott and the other producers that he brings on to raise the big money. And we don't know the exact budget yet. We need to bring on a line producer who will do that. But it looks like $2 to $3 million, which to a regular person like me is just like, I can't count that far. But it's considered a low budget movie. And we think we could do a lot with that. So we do have matching funds, which is wonderful. So I will be setting about to raise the other 100,000 this winter. And if you are in the New York City area, we're going to be having a fundraising party. I believe that's going to be in March in Greenwich Village. So if you have any interest in helping on that, let me know, because we can use a lot of help. Now, one thing that is wonderful is that the Compassion Consortium, which some of you know, that was, again, that was William's baby. He's had a couple of cool ones. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. And one of the wonderful things, and I guess you'd say one of the few wonderful things that the US government and the IRS do for the arts, is that they allow for donations to go through a nonprofit funnel that keeps a small percentage of the donations and then puts the rest into the film. And that means that the donors it's a tax deduction because they are making a contribution to a charity. And it's fully legitimate and wonderful, wonderful things. And we're so grateful to have the CC with us on that. And, of course, we're doing a little fundraising early. And I truly believe that Miss Liberty can change the world for farmed animals, and that will change the world. So as I say here, I was a teenager when Guess Who's Coming to Dinner came out. And at that time, we're talking the mid-1960s, and our country has always been pretty divided and people didn't agree on anything. But as a kid, watching adults and what they thought, it seemed very clear to me that everybody who didn't agree on anything else agreed that interracial relationships were bad. And it didn't matter what color you were, what religion you were, who you voted for, you were united in that prejudice. Just like everybody is united in the prejudice that we are supposed to be eating animals. And then this movie came out. And I know that it wasn't overnight that all those people changed their mind on the issue of interracial relationships, but it happened so seamlessly, it seemed to me as an outside observer, after that movie. That is the power of film. We've seen that, of course, in other message films. And we know that Miss Liberty is not a big movie. I mean, we don't know if it's going to be a theater movie, a made-for-TV movie, a Hallmark movie. We don't know. We just know that the world needs Miss Liberty, and we need you to help her be where she's supposed to be. So you can go to our website, which is misslibertythemovie.com, and you can sign up for the free Miss Liberty interest list, and we'll let you know what's going on, what's happening. We also are on X. We haven't gotten other social media yet because there's just nobody to handle it. But we would just love to have you come to the website and let us know if you have any interests, if you have any ways of helping, if you have any ideas. So I am going to stop sharing and talk to you guys and talk to Judy. Thank you all so much.
Wow. Okay. So Victoria, I did not understand that this was a made for the theater movie, like Julie's. So it's going to attract a large audience. It's not a documentary, and I kind of thought it was.
No,
so
if it were a documentary, we would have made it years ago. Because,
well, right.
Because documentaries are very cheap. I mean, I suppose people have spent $2 million on documentaries, but not lately. Not that, I mean, I'm sure something like Game Changers had a huge budget, but generally speaking, if you want to make a documentary, and anybody here, because I've been part of a documentary, A Prayer for Compassion, and I remember when I first started working on that with Thomas Jackson, and I said, okay, so how much money do we need to raise before you can start working on it? And Thomas was kind of, I don't know. And the next week he was out working on it. I don't know how much we had. I think we had hundreds, not thousands.
Right.
But you can do that with a documentary, and then with a lot of faith, like Julie was talking about, the rest comes in. The feature film is a different category. And we've had very few vegan feature films. We're getting more of them, which is really cool. But we had like Okja, where it was wonderful. The animal wasn't a regular animal. And then we've had a lot of movies that are for kids and movies where the animals talk, and that's great. But we need something that's real life, but still a story.
And that, like you said, that parents can bring their kids to and get their popcorn and sit there and absorb this wonderful message. So I'm just so excited for both of you for taking on these huge projects, and I'm just in awe of both of you. Thank you so much. I think this is going to be huge for the animals of the world and nature and all that we're dealing with now, but maybe overall changing people's minds and hearts about animals. And so, this is I'm just, like I said, I'm just in awe of both of you, and thank you so much for doing this. Lisa, I'm thinking we've got a few minutes for questions. We didn't leave much time. There was been so much to talk about. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, we're so excited to share and promote both of these films, these feature films, which is one of the things that can really benefit the vegan movement. And thank you for taking this one on, Victoria and Julie.
I would just like to comment to what Judy said, if I may, is thank you for taking this on. What I think Victoria and William would agree is that we didn't really take it on, it took us on. The idea came, as Stephen King would say, the big idea got in the head. And when you have a big idea that's supposed to manifest, it keeps tapping on your brain and on your heart until you get up and do some work towards it. And then it just snowballs and gets bigger and bigger.
Thomas says the same thing about how it basically took him over when he was working on A Prayer for Compassion. He just speaks so passionately about it and how things fell into place. And I know they will for both of your films because they're divinely inspired.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We do have one of the benefits of being here together in this online gathering, exploring veganism as a spiritual practice, is that we do have some people who want to help both of you. Looks like we have some people in the chat who have said they'd like to volunteer, they'd like to help.
Nice.
One person says she's a member of New York WIFT, which might mean something to a person in the acting world. And so there are definitely people to connect with that relate to, that are here with us today. And so we encourage you, all of you, to reach out individually to Victoria and also to Julie. Maybe you can share with us where you would like people to reach you. If there's a place, perhaps directing to the website, or how you would like people to reach you with their ideas and offers to volunteer.
Just my email is the best way to get me, or the telephone. I still answer the phone on account of I'm old. So I'm used to answering the phone. I like the phone. But Julie Griffin Hypnosis at iCloud is, I hope, easy to remember. But if not, I'm sure if anybody can't find me, you can contact the Interfaith Vegan Coalition, and I would be happy to hear from everyone. And if anybody wants to know more about it, I'm happy to talk about it.
Thank you so much. Julie, and just to clarify, it's Julie Griffin Hypnosis at iCloud.com.
Yes, and Griffin with 2 eyes. So,
And I just put mine in the chat. The website is misslibertythemovie.com, or you could contact me at victoriamoran.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, because
Thanks for the suggestions, everybody, too.
that would be very helpful, and we'll include this when we post it on YouTube, which we'll do. And there's just so many great suggestions here. And we did have another film, another question from a person, and this was related to the question was, back to Julie, just a question about, are you using information from Silas Rao, the climate healer, for what the people are winning the prize for? For example,
well, interestingly, Silas is now, he's taken a look at the script. I think he's read it, and he's been very kind to me, and I appreciate any of his time because he's such a busy man. But I learned a lot from Silas, and I also worked on projects with Silas before when he was in Glasgow at one of the COP26, I think it was. I helped him with a video, which taught me so much. But really, it goes back to my education from having been married to a climate scientist for 15 years, that I learned a lot of this. And way back then, I heard from Roger that the problem was not fossil fuels that was causing all the problems with the atmosphere. It was cows passing gas. And at the time, I thought he was joking. This was like back in 1995, he's telling me this. So I just thought he was kidding. But now, over time, I learned that he wasn't. And, I went to the Nobel Prize party, and, I saw all of it. And these are very smart people that know that was going on way back when. So it's just time to get the news out there. And Silas has been doing such a brilliant job. He's so compassionate and caring and respectable. And as with Kip and Cam, a man of absolute integrity. And heavens knows there's not a whole lot of that bouncing around in life anymore. So that's one of the things that attracted me to climate healers. Was it made sense, and it was above board, and it wasn't about money. It wasn't about being a control freak. It was about saving the world. That's a pretty high aspiration, and saving the animals at the same time. It's like a twofer. So pretty excited about it.
That's great. Well, we're getting ready to wrap up here. Wanted to see if there was maybe a last comment from Victoria, last one from Julie, and then we'll do a little closing. We have a tradition of doing a little closing, either prayer or something of that nature. Victoria? Any last words from you?
Oh, I thought you meant put them in the chat. Yeah, well, just thanks everybody for being here, and thank you for being excited about this, because I think, as you could tell from both of us, these projects are huge. And sometimes you wake up and think, wait a minute, I'm just a mortal, you know? And it seems like, of all the things you could have come up with, sometimes I even look at William and think, how could you have done this? Because this is so difficult and this is so enormous. And yet you did it, and we have to do it. Because I really believe it's a divine thing too, that, God, as you understand whatever that word is, I think puts on the hearts of people something that needs to be done. And if it's impossible, that doesn't matter. You just do it anyway. And what makes it possible is having other people. So thank you all so much for being here and being part of this. And God bless Julie and her movie. And it'll just be so cool to see how these kind of projects that are growing up together mature.
Yeah, thank you, Victoria.
And we'll
Julie.
just hope that the universe put winds inside the sails of all of our souls to give us the energy to keep us going and to put us in flow on the right paths to the right people at the right times. And as I said early on, Victoria, pleasure to be here with you, because I'm in awe of you and the program, your story. It's lovely, just completely lovely.
Well, we're just thrilled to have both of you here, and it's a twofer for us to share both of your work and the films, a little bit about them, and we hope that everyone here can spread the word and also see the films. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us and sharing a bit about your visions that are actually manifesting right now before our eyes. So as far as the closing,
Thank
did
you.
anybody want to offer the closing? If not, then Judy or I could do that. We have a lovely little closing that we do for that is a nice one, where we say namaste vegan, for
Vegan.
and then love.
Love.
So that's a beautiful one that we'd like to give to everyone here tonight. So if you're there by your computer, if you're at home anywhere, take this one on the road. It's a nice little moving prayer. Namaste.
Say vegan. Love.
Love.
So with that, we're just thrilled to have everyone here tonight. We hope that all of this magic will continue, and more people will learn about this film. And I think it'll be very exciting to hear someday that a child or a person was influenced by one of these films to go vegan and to start their own vegan projects. So this is the beginning of a major vegan revolution. Thanks to both of you.
It is.
Thank you.
It truly is. So bless
And thank you all
both.
for
Bless
joining
your
us
work.
too.
Yes. Thanks,
Yes,
everyone.
thanks everybody for joining.
We're excited to have
Yeah.
you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and stay tuned for next time. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Vegan blessings.